If you gave yourself just 6 months, no excuses, no distractions, your whole life could look completely different. And if that line made you pause, good. Because most people scroll past the very thing that could change them. This video is not just another talk, it's for the person who's tired of wasting time, tired of watching others grow while they stay stuck, tired of feeling behind, tired of starting and quitting, tired of living the same day over and over again. Give yourself 6 months to change. Everything isn't just a title, it's a decision, and this might be the first time someone tells you the truth without sugarcoating it. If you walk away now, nothing changes. You already know that. But if you sit with this, if you watch this to the end, you'll walk away with a mindset that doesn't rely on motivation ever again. So don't click off, don't scroll, stay locked in. This is the video your future self has been waiting for. Chapter 1. Be honest about what's actually ruining your life. That's the first step if you're serious about changing everything. And it's not a light step. It's not just a decision you make once and forget about. It's a process, a tough one. But it's the beginning of real transformation. You can't move forward if you keep pretending that everything is fine when it's not. You can't build a better life while you're still holding on to the same habits, excuses, and behaviors that are quietly eating away at your potential. You can't fix what you refuse to face. And too many people spend their whole lives avoiding the truth about themselves. You've got to sit down and get brutally honest. Not emotional, not dramatic, just honest. Ask yourself, what's actually ruining my life? What am I doing every day that is holding me back? What thoughts do I keep believing that make me feel small? What choices am I making that I already know are leading me nowhere? For some people, it's procrastination. They keep putting things off, telling themselves they'll get serious tomorrow. But tomorrow keeps coming and going, and nothing changes. For others, it's addiction, maybe to comfort, maybe to food, maybe to distractions. It's the same pattern. When things get hard, they escape, and the escape becomes the routine. For others, it's their mindset, always doubting, always afraid, always expecting the worst. They don't trust themselves, they don't believe they're capable of real growth, so they shrink, they hide, they stay small, and that mindset becomes their prison. And sometimes it's the people around you, people who don't want to grow, people who laugh. When you talk about changing your life, people who pull you back every time you start moving forward, you've got to recognize those people, not hate them, not fight them, just recognize they're not going where you want to go. And maybe the truth is, you're the one who's letting them stay. You're the one who keeps saying yes when you should say no. You're the one who avoids conflict because it's easier than drawing a line. You're the one who's afraid of being alone, so you settle for being stuck. These are hard things to admit, but they're necessary. If you want to change your life in 6 months, you have to start by cleaning out what's been poisoning your progress. No more excuses. No more blaming your past. No more talking about how things should have been. That doesn't change anything. What changes your life is when you stop and say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not living this way. I know what's hurting me, and I'm done allowing it to stay. That's when your life begins to move. Not when you buy a new planner, not when you watch another video, but when you face the truth, and you make a decision that you're going to stop lying to yourself. And that means more than words, it means action. You've got to change the way you show up every day. If you're waking up late, dragging through the day, wasting time, living on autopilot, you already know that's ruining your life. You don't need another reminder. What you need is to change it. You know what foods leave you tired. You know which routines leave you feeling empty. You know which habits leave you feeling guilty. And you know exactly what behaviors you go back to when no one's watching. That's the truth you need to face. It's not complicated, it's just uncomfortable. And people avoid the uncomfortable because it doesn't feel good. But growth doesn't care about your comfort. It cares about your commitment. So take inventory, write it down, put it in front of your face. What are you doing that's holding you back? What thoughts are stealing your confidence? What people are draining your energy? What behaviors are leading you to regret instead of progress? Once you know what's wrong, you can start to fix it. You can't do it all in one day, but you can start today. That's what counts. Start by stopping the things that don't belong. If social media wastes your hours, get off it. If junk food makes you tired and unmotivated, clean up your meals. If the people around you keep making you feel small, get some space. If the things you do after work kill your momentum, switch them. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Every time you cut out something that's ruining your life, you create space for something better to grow. And it's not just about what you do, it's about what you tolerate. Stop tolerating mediocrity in your own behavior. Stop tolerating weak effort. Stop tolerating the same story you've been telling yourself about why you cut. You just haven't forced yourself to yet. 6 months can change your life, but only if you're honest about what needs to change. Most people want to skip this part. They want the plan, the routine, the checklist. But none of it works if the foundation is rotten. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start removing what you already know is wrong. That's where the strength starts to build. That's when your self-respect starts to return. And the more honest you are, the faster your life changes. You'll start to see it in small ways first. You'll wake up with more energy. You'll feel better in your body. You'll feel proud of your choices. You'll start to believe you can actually do this. And then, little by little, everything starts to shift. But it starts with this. Be honest, not just once. Every day, ask yourself, what am I doing right now that's helping me? What am I doing that's hurting me? And be willing to face the answer. That's how you change your life in 6 months. Not by luck, not by chance, but by getting real, getting serious, and getting to work. You don't have time to waste. You've already wasted enough. Now it's time to change. And that begins by telling yourself the truth. Even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. Because once you do that, really do that, you take your power back, and from there, anything is possible. Chapter 2. Break the habits that make you hate yourself. If you want to change your life in 6 months, then you've got to stop doing the things that make you feel worse about who you are. It's that simple. You already know which habits are breaking you down. You already know what leaves you feeling empty, weak, lazy, or disappointed in yourself. And you can't keep living with that cycle if you expect your life to feel better. It won't. You can't keep waking up every day doing things that silently make you feel ashamed and expect your confidence to grow. It doesn't work that way. There are habits that you built over time that felt small at first. Maybe you picked them up when life was hard. Maybe you used them as a way to cope. Maybe they gave you some temporary comfort. But now they've turned into chains. Now you use them to hide, to avoid, to delay the life you know you're capable of. And every time you go back to them, something in you shrinks. That's not discipline, that's self-abandonment. You look in the mirror and you know the truth. You're not proud of the way you've been living. You're not proud of how you handle your time. You're not proud of the way you treat your body or your mind or your responsibilities. And that honesty is where the change begins. Because once you're honest about how those habits are affecting you, you can't unsee it. You can't keep pretending they're harmless. You can't act like they're just small things. They're not small. They're the reason you wake up tired. They're the reason you avoid the things that matter. They're the reason you don't respect yourself the way you should. And this isn't about being perfect. This is about getting tired of feeling stuck in a version of yourself you don't admire. It's about recognizing that every habit is either building you or breaking you. You don't have to be harsh with yourself. You have to be real. If you eat garbage all day, scroll endlessly through nonsense, skip workouts, avoid responsibilities, and fill your time with low-quality routines, you will not like your life. And worse, you'll start to feel like someone who doesn't deserve more. The truth is, you've developed habits that train you to settle. They train you to numb your emotions instead of processing them. They train you to avoid hard decisions instead of facing them. And over time, that builds self-hate, not all at once, but slowly, quietly. You don't even notice it happening, but suddenly you feel disconnected from yourself. You feel like you're wasting your time. You start to feel like your potential is slipping away, and when that becomes your normal, you stop expecting more from yourself. That's what these habits do. They lower your standards without you realizing it. They make you think discipline is too hard. They make you think you're not capable of real consistency. But you are. You're just buried under layers of behavior that were never designed to help you grow. And if you're going to break them, you have to stop negotiating with them. You have to stop saying just one more day. Because every time you say that, you delay your future and you lose more time that you'll never get back. You break those habits by replacing them with something that aligns with who you actually want to be. You stop numbing your emotions and start dealing with your life directly. You stop wasting your energy and start directing it with purpose. You wake up and you set a rule for yourself. No more actions that leave me feeling ashamed. That's a real rule. And when you follow that rule, your self-respect starts to return. It starts small. Maybe you wake up and instead of reaching for your phone, you get up and take care of your body. You drink water, you stretch, you go for a walk. Maybe you stop eating things that make you feel sluggish and irritated. You cook something clean, you slow down and give your body what it needs. Maybe you start writing down your thoughts instead of avoiding them. You process what's actually going on in your mind instead of running from it. These are not massive changes, but they are powerful because they prove something to you. You are not a slave to your habits. And yes, it's uncomfortable at first because those habits have become your routine. They become the way you soothe yourself, but they're not helping you anymore. You know that. So when you start changing them, your brain will resist. You'll feel that pull to go back to comfort. That's not weakness, that's just programming. You've wired your system to seek out those behaviors, and now you have to rewire it. And you don't do it by trying to change everything in a day. You pick one thing, one behavior that makes you feel weak, one habit that ruins your mood, and you cut it. You replace it with something better. You make that one change every day for a week. Then you add another. That's how you rebuild your foundation. Slowly, but with intention. And here's the secret. The more you break those habits, the more power you feel returning. You'll notice your thoughts get clearer. Your energy comes back. Your emotions feel lighter. You're no longer carrying the guilt of actions you regret. You're no longer at war with yourself. You start to feel like someone you can rely on, and that feeling is the key to everything else, because once you trust yourself again, everything gets easier. You don't hesitate. You don't need motivation. You don't keep second-guessing your worth. You show up because that's who you are now. You've built a version of yourself that isn't ruled by comfort or laziness or addiction. You've built someone who's in control. But none of this happens if you keep repeating the same destructive cycle. If you wake up tomorrow and do what you did today, you'll get the same results. You'll feel the same frustration. You'll look in the mirror and see the same disappointment. You've got to decide that you're done living that way. You owe it to yourself to live differently. Not later, not next year. Now. You don't need a perfect plan. You need commitment. You need a decision that from this day forward, your habits will match your vision. And that means you're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to feel the urge to quit. You're going to want to go back to easy. But that's the moment you double down. That's when you remember that change only happens when you stick with it long enough to see results, and 6 months is enough. If you stay consistent for unrecognizable. But it starts with one choice. Half a year, you can become. Stop doing what makes you hate yourself. Stop letting those old habits run your life. Replace them with actions you can be proud of. You'll still fail some days. That's okay. But you won't quit. You'll keep showing up. You'll keep rising above your past. You'll keep creating a version of yourself that reflects strength, clarity, and self-respect. And soon, the person you used to be, the one who hid behind bad habits, will be gone. And in their place will be someone who shows up for their goals. Someone who lives with discipline. Someone who leads their own life. That's who you're building now. Keep going. You're not far from becoming everything you were meant to be. Chapter 3. Create a routine that forces you to grow. If you want to grow, you can't leave your days to chance. Growth does not happen on accident. It happens when you wake up with purpose and go tubed, knowing you moved forward. And to make that happen, you need a routine. Not a routine that keeps you busy. Not one that looks good on paper but doesn't challenge you. You need a routine that forces you to grow, a routine that pushes you to show up even when you don't feel like it. A routine that holds you to a higher standard whether you're tired or motivated or not. You build that kind of routine by first being clear about what matters. Not what looks productive. Not what everyone else is doing. What matters to you. What changes your energy. What builds your confidence. What improves your skills. What protects your mental clarity. Most people start their day with distraction. They wake up and reach for their phone. They scroll. They read nonsense. They check notifications that have nothing to do with their goals. That's how they lose their morning. That's how they start reacting instead of leading. And when you start your day reacting, you stay behind the rest of the day. You can't lead your life if you don't even lead your first hour. You've got to take back control of your day. And that starts with structure. You can't keep saying, "I'll figure it out when I wake up." That's a trap. You don't rise with purpose if your plan is based on how you feel in the morning. You've got to decide the night before what kind of person you're going to be when the day starts. That's how you train your mind to follow direction instead of emotion. You wake up and you follow through, whether you want to or not, whether it's easy or not. Because that's the only way you grow, and when you build your routine, don't fill it with 15 things. That's not growth. That's stress. What you want is clarity, simplicity, focus. You pick the few things that actually stretch you, that make you stronger, that improve your mindset, that sharpen your body, that clear your thinking. You don't need more activities, you need the right ones. Done with consistency, done with purpose. That's how you build power. Start with your morning. What do you do in your first hour that builds you? Do you move your body? Do you clean your space? Do you eat something that fuels your energy instead of draining it? Do you take 5 minutes to review your goals, or write your thoughts, or breathe in silence so you don't get pulled into chaos? If not, then you're missing the opportunity to grow before the world even asks anything of you. You're letting your most valuable time go to waste. The first hour of your day should be yours. Before anyone calls you, before the noise starts. That's when you set your direction. Then move into your work time. Ask yourself what you're actually working on. Are you doing things that matter? Are you avoiding what you need to face? Are you letting distractions run your day? Or are you focused? Are you locking in on your goals? Are you pushing yourself to get better, even if it's uncomfortable? Growth comes when you stop doing what's easy and start doing what's necessary. So your routine has to include hard things, things that make you sweat, things that require discipline, things that stretch your limits. You don't grow by doing what's convenient. You grow by doing what you'd rather avoid. In your routine, you also need reflection. That's not optional. You need time every day to stop and ask yourself, am I getting better? Am I moving in the right direction? Am I proud of how I handled today? This isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. You won't fix what you ignore. If you skip reflection, you start drifting, and you won't notice how far you've drifted until you feel lost. That's why every day, even if it's just 10 minutes, you look at yourself with honesty. You ask the hard questions. You stay connected to your direction. Evenings matter too. You can't expect to wake up strong if you go to sleep weak. If your nights are full of mindless entertainment, low-quality food, and chaotic energy, don't expect your mornings to feel focused. They won't. You're not just living one day at a time. You're building momentum, and your evenings are where you reset, where you recharge, where you prepare for the next step. Your evening routine should support your goals, not erase your progress. You wind down on purpose. You plan the next day. You protect your peace. The reason most people stay stuck is because they don't put any pressure on their routine. They do what they feel like. They skip the parts that matter. They wait for motivation. They give in to excuses. That's why 6 months pass and nothing changes. That's why they start over every Monday. That's why they keep talking about the life they want but never live it. Because their routine is designed for comfort, not for growth. You've got to flip that. You've got to design a routine that demands more from you. One that builds discipline, not just results. One that teaches you to follow through when it's boring, when it's hard, when nobody's watching. That's how self-respect grows. That's how you get stronger. When you know you did what you said you would do, even when nobody gave you credit, even when quitting would have been easier. That's when you start to trust yourself again. And when you trust yourself, your world starts changing. You stop hesitating. You stop overthinking. You stop backing down. Because now you know who you are. You know you've earned that confidence. You've lived it. That kind of belief doesn't come from words. It comes from effort. It comes from a routine that pushes you to keep going when it's hard. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a simple routine done with commitment, something you follow every day, something that makes you feel proud. It could be waking up at the same time, drinking more water, reading 10 pages, doing 30 minutes of exercise, taking care of your room, cleaning your thoughts, following through on one important task. Whatever it is, do it with focus. Do it without excuses. Do it until it becomes normal and then raise the bar. That's how growth works. You build a routine that challenges the weaker version of you. You wake up and do the things the old you would have avoided. You stay consistent until it becomes your identity. Not just something you do, something you are. A person who shows up. A person who leads. A person who doesn't skip the work. This is how you change everything in 6 months. Not by waiting. Not by hoping. But by designing a routine that forces growth. That leaves no room for excuses. That brings out the strongest version of you day after day. And when you stick to it, your life begins to shift. Not by luck, but by effort, by structure, by focus. You're not far. You just have to start. Build a routine that pushes you forward and never look back. Chapter 4. Choose progress every day over feeling comfortable again. If you really want to change your life in 6 months, you need to get one thing straight. Comfort is not your friend. It looks like it is. It feels safe. It feels familiar. But it's the same comfort that's been holding you back for years. Every time you choose comfort, you delay your progress. Every time you pick what feels easy over what makes you grow, you trade a better life for temporary relief. You've been doing that long enough. That's why you're here. That's why you're not where you could be. You can't have both. You can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. Progress demands something from you. It demands effort. It demands decisions that stretch you. It demands that you stop running from things just because they're hard. And if you're serious about changing, then you need to stop giving comfort all the power. You need to stop using it as an excuse to pause your progress. Growth doesn't happen when it's convenient. It happens when you keep going despite how you feel. There are moments every day where you have a choice: wake up or sleep in, focus or scroll. Cook something healthy or order junk again. Speak with honesty or avoid the truth. Push through the workout or skip it. Open the book or turn on another distraction. The moments seem small, but they shape everything because the person you become is the one you choose in those moments. Every time you go with comfort, you reinforce the part of you that wants to stay the same. Every time you choose progress, you build a version of you that can handle more, do more, and be more. Most people are addicted to the feeling of comfort. They don't realize it's become a routine. And the scary thing is, comfort feels good even when it's ruining your potential. That's why it's dangerous. It doesn't come with a warning. It doesn't feel like failure, but it keeps you stuck in the same place year after year. And when you look back, you'll realize it didn't protect you. It held you down. It slowed you down. It made you settle for a life that never pushed you to be your best. You've got to start saying no to comfort when it gets in the way of who you want to become. It won't feel good at first. It might make you frustrated. It might make you tired. But choosing progress means choosing discipline. It means choosing short-term discomfort for long-term strength. It means doing what needs to be done instead of what's easy. You have goals. You have a vision for your life. But you won't get there by staying where it feels nice. You'll get there by showing up every day and doing what moves you forward. That might mean saying no when everyone else is saying yes. That might mean staying in on weekends. That might mean working when you're not in the mood. That might mean being honest with yourself when it would be easier to blame something else. That's what progress asks of you. Progress isn't loud. It doesn't always give you immediate results. But it gives you pride. It gives you growth. It gives you the kind of self-respect you can't buy or borrow. You can't fake that. You earn it by making decisions that build your future, instead of just maintaining your present. If you want to live the same year again and again, keep choosing comfort. Keep making decisions based on how little effort you can get away with. But if you want to look back 6 months from now and feel proud, feel stronger, feel better, then you've got to make a shift. You've got to tell yourself the truth. You've got to admit that comfort has cost you more than it's given you. Think about how much time you've already spent choosing the easy way. Think about how many times you said you'd start tomorrow. Think about the routines you keep going back to even though you